Thank you for watching News Echoes and World Affairs. My name is Shegun Johnson, and this morning we're going to discuss so many issues crisscrossing the Atlantic Ocean, things from Africa, and of course from Europe. In the studio with me is from the commercial city of Nigeria, Bidi Nana. Bidi, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Dr. Shebi. Thanks for having me once again. Good morning, everyone in the studio, our viewers all around the world. Good to have you here today. Let's do it like always.
Always nice to see you. In faraway Toronto, Canada, where the fire is burning and the cloud is being covered, is our man, Sir George Chukud. Sir George, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Dr. Johnson. Good morning, Biddy, and good morning, viewers from around the world. Welcome to our show today.
Yes, and in Milan, where we'll be hearing from what happened in Annecy, France, is Macmillan. Mark, you're welcome to the program.
Morning, great people. Morning, viewers. It's good to see you guys again.
Yesterday, the President of America and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, they met and they came out with a trade declaration. They call it Transatlantic Declaration. Many people have not been impressed, saying that is the old usual thing. But Sunak insisted that it shows that the relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States of America is getting stronger and stronger. Sir George, what are we to read? What meaning should we read to this one?
Well, the only thing I saw there was, just trying to showcase a united front. Because to them, they feel like maybe the war between Russia and Ukraine is actually shifting, towards the favor of Ukraine. So what they are saying is, okay, is number one, it's not even about trade. Trade, the trade alliance has been there. They're not going anywhere. So I think that part of the reason was to showcase strength and power against Russia, that we're still standing together against Ukraine. Maybe to kind of rejoice a little bit that things are moving forward. So that's what I saw there.
Oh, thank you very much. Bidi, do you think this discussion could scare China? Because China is always wanting to get Taiwan, and it's like if they could tighten their relations, and China is getting stronger and stronger by the day concerning economy. You think China will be scared by this transatlantic declaration?
China will never be scared. You'll be surprised at another strategy they might be coming up with. China will never be scared. Well, it will be obvious to them because I'm even surprised with that kind of visit and the transgender, transatlantic trade. Yeah, I was even surprised. Well, I think United Kingdom is trying to make a point, but the world are not saying it. China will never be scared, but they will certainly come up with another strategy that people will be surprised at.
Let me ask from Europe, Mark, the eurozone will feel jealous, isn't it? There's a special relationship, Margaret Thatcher called it, between the United Kingdom and the United States of America is getting stronger and stronger without UK in the eurozone. You think that could be a kind of jealousy there?
Yes, Doc, there could be a kind of jealousy there. But the meeting yesterday, as we know, the first time Richard Sunak, the United Kingdom Prime Minister, is coming to the United States. The meeting has a lot of strategic alignment to it. A lot of things were discussed: military, security services, also more on the Ukrainian issue. America, through Biden, was saying that UK has done a lot to contributing to the military strength of Ukraine. What we are seeing with that meeting yesterday is something new is about to come up. New partnership, new alliance, new everything. Because take note, um, during Trump's era, he reduced the alliance with the UK. Trump believed more in America standing on its own. So we are seeing a new alliance, a new association, and but the talk on Ukraine is what we were expecting more. Rather, what we had is there will be more support to the Ukraine instead of them talking about ending this war. I think that's what Trump would have done better. Trump doesn't see. He says in CNN interview last week, he was saying he has to stop this war if it's him. So, but the meeting yesterday had the two leaders talking about supporting Ukraine with more arms and more fighting tools. So that's not too fair on humanity, because at the end of it all, what we're seeing is human beings being killed for nothing. So, yes, if there was a meeting, Joe Biden and his team met with Ukraine, UK Prime Minister and his team, and a lot of things were discussed.
Thank you very much,
Biden also
Sir,
used the word.
Sir George. It
Yes.
Yes.
appears that everybody with power will want to use it. All political leaders across generations, ages, they always want to go to war. Margaret Thatcher, Falkland War, Tony Blair, Iraq War, and so also George Bush. It's like if you are a king many years ago, thousands of years ago, and a president, prime minister, you always want to go to war because that's what they will remember you for. Is that the reason for this Russia, Ukrainian war, everybody taking their
I
sides?
I personally don't think so. And Massive Mark was talking about Trump saying that he will stop the war. Trump is a talker. That's what we've known him for. He's a talker. One thing, he has a big mouth. He can always talk. But when it comes to action, most of the time, basically he doesn't even know what to do when he's faced with certain type of situation. So in a situation like this, stopping the war is a very good thing, but you can't just arbitrarily stop the war without understanding the ramifications of, maybe pulling out of from the war or whatever the case might be.
Or the
Because
causes
some of
of
the
the war.
yeah, but some of the situations that we're having in this war is, if Russia wins this war, believe me, that is the beginning of a third world war, because China would definitely go to Taiwan, and that's what they're waiting for. You know, the point is, when you think about Russian position and China position, when it comes to trade alliances around the world, you will see that China will have more to lose during a war than Russia. Why is that? Russia have only specific things that they trade around the world. The China is all around, because if they are cut off for instance, from some of the allied countries in shipping out their goods, it will affect them drastically. So what China is waiting for is to see the tone of voice around the world, the climate about this war. Are these people going to actually go in and then win this war? If they do that, you will see them hijack Taiwan right away, and that's what they're waiting for. And so, we're hoping that there will be some kind of a resolution quickly, so that lives will not continue to be lost. Is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, I think about the Taiwan situation. What is big about Taiwan apart from one's pride? China, why are they still looking to annex annex Taiwan? It doesn't make sense from my point of view, but from their point of view, is like pride, isn't it? They
Mhm.
want it.
Yes, the more territory you have, the more control you have of a people, the more your economy, if you're planning things well.
Mm,
Taiwan has some deposits also, natural resources, and Taiwan has good territorial position. It's in a way where you can have a lot of things. take note that these countries think more also of defense. Everybody looks for a territory where they can mount their machinery, their defense systems, and everything. So Taiwan has that, and if China has Taiwan enclave, they can build great defense system all around their territory. So they want to have Taiwan, but the Taiwanese don't want them, and that's the sad thing. Now I want to help George. Trump, yes, we know he's loudmouth, but he does some real strong things when he says he wants to. He stopped the war. I mean, he reduced the number of military soldiers sent to Iraq. He stopped Americans from going to some of these places. He said some of those places, Syria, Iraq, some of these places have been fighting war all their lives. There's no point America trying to be peacekeeper in those places because at the end of it, they're just wasting their money. So if he'll probably stop the Ukrainian war, I think he will do that because it has no economic benefit to an extent, if we look at it very, very well. Even though some people say there are laboratories, American laboratories in Ukraine, this and that. But Trump is not, I don't think he's talking empty now. He means what he says if he's saying
okay. Thank you. Bidi, the last question on this.
Can I respond to that quickly?
Please, quickly.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Trump acts without thinking. Trump acts only where it benefits him and helps his image. Other presidents might consider a roundabout type of consideration economically, diplomatically, scientifically, the trade alliances and everything when they act. Is holistic in their consideration. Trump does not do that. One thing you have to understand, Trump is a puppet to Russia. So in essence, really, what you will see is if his decision will benefit Russia, that's what he will do. He's an open, everybody knows that. So he loves dictators. If you're a dictator, he becomes your lover. So in allowing such a man to make a decision, it might not benefit the world as a whole, and it might not even benefit Ukraine. So that's the reason why I say he's a talker, not an, because somebody who can think holistically and make consideration all around and use wisdom to act is the kind of individual you need as a president, not a one-track mind type of individual.
Oh, thank you. Bidi, the Western world, I don't want to say the International Court of Justice, they have decided that Putin has broken the laws of international convention during war, and therefore they want to arrest him. Now Putin is going to South Africa for a BRICS meeting, and they've been asking South Africa to arrest him for them. But South Africa said it's not going to happen. You think it's going to happen? You think because South Africa is a signed member of ICC. So you think is it going to happen or not?
That's a joke of the century. They want to arrest Putin and they're sending South Africa. They're sending African country. It's not possible. Dr. Shegu, that cannot happen. Even them that say they want to arrest Putin, it's like what Sir George talks about Trump. They are just noisemakers. If they want to arrest Putin, they know how to arrest him. They know his movement. They know where he is. So why sending South Africa? They are then just trying to erupt Africa into this and make mess of Africa. So that is a joke of the century. It's not possible.
And if you remember what Nelson Mandela said about Russia, that they were in support of their struggle. So now that, it won't happen. I agree with you. But,
exactly. Okay. Russia has been a kind of, should I call it big brother to Africa? Somehow. They've been helpful somehow. You understand? So asking South Africa to come and arrest Putin in South Africa, it's not possible. Now, you can even ask South Africa to be part of the arrest, but not in African soil.
No, and like their representative said, you cannot arrest a head of state that is visiting your country. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, what they did was
not possible.
What they did was they made an immunity document clearing him from being arrested in South Africa. So a document was issued out, and that paper covers Putin's immunity when he comes for the BRICS meeting. So he can't be arrested in South Africa.
He can't be arrested. I mean, the West believe that they are juggernauts. It doesn't work like that. This world has moved on from.
They've been using Africans, and they believe that they can still use African.
Yeah.
But it's no longer the way it used to be.
I think the South Africans are saying when Tony Blair and George Bush committed war crimes in Iraq, Afghanistan, who arrested them? Exactly. So they should go and sit down. Anyway, let's move on. In France, something evil happened 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? In Annecy, French Alps. One of the nicest places on planet Earth to visit. Swiss Alps, French Alps. That's where someone who was out of his mind went to kill, or rather attempted to kill, some children and their handlers. Mark, you are closer to Annecy than any one of us. Tell us more.
Let's just see the little, because the video is a little bit graphic, but we'll just see a pinch of it to have an idea.
Very sad situation. Yes, Mark, tell us more.
Very, very sad situation. Yes, sorry. So what we're seeing is a situation that turned very ugly. It's a small town. Annecy is a small town, tranquil small town between the borders of Swiss, Italy, and France. Somehow these three countries share borders together at the point by the Alpine. So it's a small town with 140 people, and a cool, beautiful town. Beautiful, very beautiful. In fact, I think there are some images on the town. So it was yesterday evening. This man went to the park where little kids were playing, riding on their swing, and he brought out knife and started stabbing these little kids. Very, very strange behavior. So the news is this: as at now, two of those little kids remain in very critical condition after that knife attack. There were 4 children that he stabbed, including one British child and one Dutch child. I think the parents were having a holiday in that town. 2 adults also were injured in the attack. And the mayor of the city said, as at yesterday, the mayor said the children were all stable and okay. But this morning, it has turned out to be that they are in very critical condition.
Question. Why children?
Yes, that's the question. But actually, what it has been proven is the attacker is not terrorist motivated. He's a Syrian man, age 31, that had refugee status in Sweden and was refused, and he moved to France. This morning, also, the French President Emmanuel Macron is visiting the city. It has been said that he has a little psychiatric, a mental problem. And what they also found out that he's been homeless for some time. He recently got divorced, and since they rejected his asylum plan in Sweden, he's walking around like a dejected man. So these are the stories we have on this situation for now.
Sir George, this man said he stabbed those children in the name of Jesus Christ. And I know you're a Jesus man. Tell us more.
I don't think so. He cannot be a businessman to be stabbing a 22 months old baby, 3 years old, and that kind of situation. The man is a mental case. And these are some of the mind manipulations that they receive when they are young. Sometimes, over when you take over, why would a grown up man who just got a divorce, and I'm quite sure that he got children, will go and start killing, innocent bambinos? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I don't know, what might have been the motivation. Maybe he's just trying to find a way to go and find a place to eat and drink and sleep. He's very lucky. If he was in the United States, they would have, they would have,
Shot him.
loaded him with some bullets.
Yes, that's what I want to say. That's one thing Europeans don't do, and somehow it's not helping them. Somebody will be committing crime, and all the police will be saying is stop, 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 and just give him that.
The average police officer in England doesn't carry a gun.
That's correct.
Anyway, Bidi, how did you find that story when you hear children of 5, 6 years old were stabbed? How did you receive that story?
Honestly, when I saw that video, I was shocked. I was like, what is happening here? But when I read the story, I found out that that man has a mental issue. He has a problem. The man is even an asylum seeker. Now, with this kind of attitude, who country will give him asylum? It's not possible. The man has a mental problem. He's been dejected. He's been left alone. Nothing. He don't even have home. I think it's a mental issue. But the way he's going about it is not the right way. The man has a problem, and he's just looking for a way to met out his problem to someone else. And choosing children is the wrong.
Now his asylum will be accepted forever in a prison. Unfortunately for him, he's going
Who
to
knows?
be given.
Who knows? Maybe that was actually what he was targeting, so that they can take him in where he will have.
But he doesn't have to stab innocent children. I mean,
Now,
children.
another thing we should look at is where this man is coming from. This man is coming from Syria, where war, where blood, where killing is nothing. So we don't know the story around his upbringing. You understand?
Okay, I have
That's
a
another
pertinent
thing.
question here. How can we stop this in future? People who have been rejected and therefore they move into depression and dejection. Sir George, what should the policymakers be thinking if they turn down the asylum of someone? Should they be following the person or what?
Well, it would be a tedious task, I mean, all nations have their own criteria in allowing people to come into their country. And for some reason, if somebody is rejected, to them, mostly, it's really none of their business what happens to you after, as long as they don't let you into their own country. So that's what I see there. So
So
I'm not quite sure
if they
there's a
reject someone, should they just quickly eject him immediately so that it doesn't become a case of a psychiatric
but
case?
yeah, where would you return this individual to? Are you returning
Syria.
them to Syria? No, you can't return them to Syria. Syria is not a stable country. It's not a place where you can say everybody is going in.
The
All the
law
flights
is
are
that
going in
you
there.
go back to the country that you came in from, the last one. That's the law.
But there is nothing happening in Syria. That's the problem there. They're still having issues.
No, he
So
came from
really,
Sweden. He came from Sweden.
Oh, yes. Thank you. He came
yeah,
from
that's what
Sweden.
I'm
So the law
saying.
says they
So
should return him to Sweden. Thank you. That's the
no,
law.
they can't return him to Sweden because Sweden rejected his application for asylum. So you can't
No,
return him to.
it's an international convention. You are returned to the last country you depart from.
When he
Yes,
came
So
to France,
he should be returned to
the
Sweden. Then Sweden
yeah.
will return him to Syria. I think that's the
Well,
thing.
it's easier said than done, especially in a country that is still in chaotic situation like that. So it's not that easy. The point is, we don't even know how he left Sweden and come to France. We don't know the avenue that he used to do that. So maybe he was rejected, and then told to leave the country. So or maybe that they were going to deport him, but he decided, because they give you a little room before they deport you out after the reject. So what happens with that is he might have found a passport or some kind of way, travel Europe to Europe or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Sweden
landed
is
in
not one
France.
of the Schengen, is it, Mark?
No, Sweden is not, is in the
It's not one
eurozone,
of them,
but
because I
it's not.
have traveled from England to France by car, and I was the one driving. And from by car, I traveled into Spain. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I've moved from one border to and not to another without anybody stopping me. Nobody was even at the border anyway. So I
Are you
just
for real?
traveled. Yeah, it was just
Yes.
free. I mean, it's the language that you know that you have moved from England to France, from France to Spain. So it's like if I wanted to go to Portugal, I would have just been driving across border, and I was
That cannot
wondering.
happen in Africa. You know, there was this, I'm telling you, there was last 2 years we traveled from Nigeria to Ghana. We pass Benin, we pass Togo, we pass, then we enter Ghana. It was a tug of war, even to pass Nigeria to Benin, even from Benin to Togo or Togo to. It's we have to spend less. Where we spend less, we spend like 1 hour. They don't allow
Wow.
you to in African country. They don't allow you
Yeah,
access like that.
that's the crazy thing. The white man did his own borders in such a way that you have this free passage, and they
Yeah.
made Africa, they limited Africans from using going through borders, and Africans also limit themselves in Africa from going. So you see that this thing reduces efficiency in growth, economic growth, in a lot of things, because like the Europeans, you talked about the Schengen. Schengen has about 26 countries. There is the free border movement, free a lot of things, and it enhances movement, enhances productivity, it enhances the economy indirectly too. So I don't know why Africa is blocking their border, and I don't know why also Europeans tell Africans to block their borders and keep people in check. You
I
know,
mean, in the morning when I was passing through all the borders, no, there was no man, not even one official. In the evening when I was coming back, I saw a few officials. Sava, Sava, hello, hello, and that was it. That was it. Nobody said,
that's
"Bring out your passport." Da 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 da. It's just like drive on, and
that's true. That's
well,
very true.
I think the policymakers have to make up their mind what to do with asylum rejected people, because this won't be the last. I don't think it's the first, but it won't be the last. Something must be done. What do you say? Does anybody have anything to inform our leaders with? I mean, across board, because
Yes.
some people. I
What
recall that a Nigerian was about to be deported and he committed suicide.
what I want to say is that sometimes the asylum officers, the immigration officers, don't really look into people's situation very well. Sometimes they do that rejection out of biased mind, and they just reject the person. A lot of cases of asylum seekers it has to do with the asylum officer, the immigration officer, taking note of some key issues that the person is putting out. You know, somebody is telling you he's coming from a war-torn zone and he can't go back, and you're still rejecting asylum. What do you want him to do? You know, and also let's take note that some of these situations that bring people in here were caused by the Europeans themselves. They cause this thing. They go to people's country, create all these situations in their country, and these youth, young people that have the energy, they find themselves trying to run out of the country because of what have been situations that are down ground. So
All
Europeans
right.
have to be blamed, and Europeans should also check in the policy that will help asylum seekers.
Thank you very
I
much, Marky
think
Milan. Yes,
I think the asylum
seekers.
government should consider more of the mental health of these people who seek for asylum. It's
Yes,
very,
but the
very
situation in
important.
England is that we have 167,000 waiting to
Yeah,
be assessed. They don't have the
yeah.
resources, I can assure you.
So what do they do? Because if we've seen cases where
So
you deny
government
this
is
thing.
just
So I see, because
lagging
they
behind.
cost it. The Englishman, for example, will go to a country, create all these problem, and scatter the country, and you find out that
Yeah, exactly. Because they are not living life out like the leaders they ought to be. Because if they do things the way it's supposed to be done, if they speak when it's supposed to, and if they state what's supposed to be done, most of the people coming for asylum in their country will not come. Let me give you for example. In Nigeria, there's election was took place 2 months ago, and everybody, the world, saw what happened. And the international world did not even make a statement. They did not say anything. They kept quiet. And I'm telling you, since March 2023 till now, the number of Nigerian youth that have left Nigeria has tripled, and they are still living. Now, when you don't do what you're supposed to do, when you don't speak when you're supposed to speak, then you take care of it. You suffer
You
it.
see, let me tell you the
very
fundamental
well.
principle. Each
That's it.
nation should take care of its own interest. They are taking care of their own interest, and they
So,
expect your leaders.
Dr. Shega, I
But
disagree with you.
their interest is
I totally disagree with you. You know what I said? I disagree with you. Yes, each country should take care of its state or its nation. But when it comes to economical benefits, they get involved.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. We
And
will
that is
discuss this
it.
another time. We
When
have to go on a
it's
short break. When we return, the eurozone is in recession. Don't go away. We'll be right back. A year ago, I wrote a book titled The Final Solution, and I was trying to say to the rest of the world that there are challenges ahead. Now, a prophecy did come, and that prophecy is coming to pass. But I'm telling you, the final solution has been found many years ago in the Bible, because the Bible simply says righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to the people. So I want you to know that we can get solutions to problems in Ukraine, in Russia, in Nigeria, indeed all parts of the world. We need that solution, and the solution is straightforward. Please get a copy of my book. It's the Final Solution by Bishop Shegun Johnson, and you can find it in Kindle, in Amazon. Just type Bishop Shegun Johnson, The Final Solution. It will come. It's very, very small book you can read within 2 hours, but it contains the final solution. Do get a copy. Not getting it is doing disservice to humanity. Don't forget The Final Solution.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still new one. That is News Echoes on World Affairs. Mark in Milan, they said there is a recession in your zone. The eurozone has experienced recession, high inflation, and things are no longer coming together. Tell us more.
Yes, serious issue, Dr. Shagun. The eurozone has slipped into recession, and data are showing that things are falling apart. Early this year, it was indicated that this will happen, but the precautions were not taken. So, as at yesterday, the European statistics now came out to say the eurozone has slipped into recession. The eurozone includes about 20 countries. No, sorry, about 20 something countries that use the euro. The eurozone has countries that use the euro, and there are some that don't use the euro, but they still are in the eurozone. So these countries that use the euro are 20 of them, but presently they are all experiencing high inflation. Consumer spending has reduced, and the government also is tightening its purse. Government is not doing much infrastructural things and much governmental things, so there is reduction in spending. So what they are also saying is that the last 3 months of this year, economically, the eurozone dropped about 0.1% compared to the previous quarter of the economic year season. So we're going through a lot. It also reflects on the ordinary life of people. There are more people out of job. There are people unemployed, walking around helplessly. Probably that's why you could have those kind of things happening in France. Also, we are looking at solutions now, and that doesn't seem to be much solution because the Ukraine discussion comes up more in the Euro meeting more than the economic situations that they are facing. So this is it. As at yesterday, Europe has slipped into recession, and it will take some time to get out of it. Thank you.
Thank you. In the United Kingdom, the word recession is not used. We understand that we are at the, excuse me, the edge of a recession, and inflation is at its highest. Nobody has ever seen inflation like this before. So we see the situation in the United Kingdom as a very tough one. We have never experienced it. The Bank of England has been increasing the interest rate to the detriment of homeowners, and we have never seen it like this before. For the first time, inflation, the percentage of inflation came into two digits. Two digits. It used to be 2.5%, 2%. Now we have 11.5%, 12%. Let's hear, how is it in the Americas, Sir George? Recession, Canada, or no recession?
Well, recession is always is considered when a country starts losing the points in their, especially when inflation increases and there is no growth for 2 quarters. So that's why they call the eurozone mild recession because for the past 3 months, from January to March, there was no increase, in their economic viability around the world. So everybody's struggling. It's still the same thing here in Canada. We're struggling. Interest rates are rising. Inflation is high. But actually in Canada, because they have been managing it, just like, just like what you were saying in Europe, interest rates were rising and rising until they started seeing spending slow down. So when they saw that for 2 months straight, so they met several times to think about increasing the interest rate, but they refused because they saw that it was working. So it's still the same thing around the globe. So sometimes when even at that mild recession, it's not really dire. It's not bad, so bad that a country will be considered to be in danger, but it's just reshuffling of their economic decisions and things that they need to do in order to reduce inflation, and things will start going fine again for them.
Thank you. BD, Africa, recession. We don't talk about recession. I know Nigeria has spoken about recession once, but we're not even sure of the statistic they used. But let's talk about inflation and unemployment. How is it in Nigeria and African countries?
Inflation in African country, in Nigeria to be precise, is really eating deep into people. It's much now. I'm telling you, the inflation rates. Yeah, sir?
I don't think Nigerian situation is called recession. It's depression.
The inflation rates has gotten so high that even the governments are even confused. They don't even know what to do. I'm telling you, the inflation
But
rate
we
in
have a
Nigeria.
question for you. So, what has happened since your country decided to remove the oil subsidy?
That's what I'm telling you. The inflation has gone. It has tripled from what it used to be. The inflation rate in Nigeria now is very high. Well, you know, it was you that actually said it in this show that Nigerians are suffering and smiling people. But because of the kind of people we are, or maybe probably the stage they have subjected us to, you will not see Nigerians lament. But the inflation
So they
rate
have
in
absorbed they have received their, how do they say, they have accepted their fate. Nobody is
that,
complaining.
that's it. And when you ask them now, they will tell you it's God's will. We are praying to God. And I sometimes ask them, praying to God on something God has already finished doing for you. You're expecting God to come down from heaven and come and feed you.
Nigerians will be the best people to govern. I mean, your price per liter just jumped by 300%, and you just take it like that, and life continues. Which means individuals too will be planning to steal money somewhere to augment.
That's what Nigerians don't know, and that's what the government don't even know. This removal of fuel subsidy has increased the crime rate in our society. Just watch in the next 3 5 months, you see what's going to happen in Nigeria, and there's nothing someone can do about it until we start getting it right. The crime rate in Nigeria has tripled, not even just increased. It has tripled.
So tell us one more thing before I ask my colleagues. How will that impact morality in Nigeria, in the area of Yahoo, in the area of prostitution, in the area? How will it affect? Because everybody will just look, if there could be impunity from the federal government, then I too could operate in my own sphere of influence.
So, Koshago, if you don't know, we as a country will have legalized immorality, we have legalized crime. Now you're talking about Yahoo boys and prostitution. When we have legalized evil things, when an adult can look you in the face and tell you that that blue is black, and you're seeing blue clearly. Now, Nigerian youth over the years don't vote. They don't come out to vote because they believe that their votes don't count. And you did everything you did, the campaign, the talking, the coercing, and people came out in mass and voted for who they want. And before broad daylight, you collected their votes and handed it over to someone else. Now, what are you telling them? You're telling them that uprightness does not count in this country. And as if that was not enough, they wanted to go to street to protest, to vent out their anger, and you stopped them from going to the street. Do you understand? Now, what are you telling them? You're telling them that their opinion don't count. And that is why an average Nigerian boy will comfortably go into to get a computer and be pressing, doing Yahoo. Now, I ask some of our leaders, what right do we even have to question or to arrest or to imprison these boys? Or even what right do we have to arrest all this prostitution? Let me tell you, the prostitution in Nigeria is being empowered by the government.
To help we all witnessed this aviation thing. The Minister of Aviation, in the full glare of the whole world, brought an empty plane, put poster on the plane, and told us Nigeria now has a new aircraft.
Exactly.
And behold, everything is all lies. So that man is number one Yahoo man. And if
No,
it
not
is a closed environment, that man should be arrested and jailed.
Can I say something?
who will
Can I say
arrest him?
something?
Yeah,
No,
it's
can
okay,
I
sir,
say
before I
something?
finish.
You
Yeah,
guys have to understand the reason why the man did what he did. This man, the government was about to change. Buhari wanted to open up a lot of unfinished things and want to put it in his coffers because he had nothing to offer Nigerians in 8 years. So what he was doing was, if a project is not finished, he wanted to go and cut the ribbon there. So also Buhari wanted to use Nigerian Airways to put into his own government that this is part of the things that we have accomplished. So when time was running out, and money was already allocated to these people to do something. So what they did in the bid to make Buhari look good and to justify the money that was allocated to them, they rushed into Ethiopia, took one of those flights, chartered it, put those cover onto it, flew it into Nigeria. You guys can be talking all what you're talking. The billions of naira that was given to them is now justified. So they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. Nobody will come after them because the money they wanted to justify in using has already been a portion of it has already been spent. So you can go try to probe them again when you open up the book to see who received what and what was accomplished. They did it. And that's what they're
exactly.
doing. So that
Dr.
exactly
Dr. Shegu, you're talking about morals. In this country, in the past administration, under the watch of APC government, who had that snakes swallowed billions of naira. We're not talking about millions, we're talking about billions. Snakes swallowed billions of naira. Monkeys stole billions of money. Auditor General of the country cut away with billions of naira. Do you understand? Before even coming to this, before your very eye, let me tell you, 95% of projects Buhari Commission, none of them is working. None of them. What crime is more than this? Now you're telling them, why won't we encourage? All these things we are doing is we're encouraging immorality. Do you understand? Now you're talking about arresting them and jailing them. Who is going to arrest them? The same people doing the same thing. Who is going to arrest them? And you come out and say somebody who is doing Yahoo should not. When your own Yahoo is in, the people I feel more for is the average Nigerians who go by jungle's justice. They will go to the streets, they will stone and kill somebody who stole phone, who stole bread, who stole rice to survive. You see that all this stealing is motivated by hunger, by desperation. Then you leave the real thieves in a sorrow, and what we do is that we'll eulogize them. So we are indirectly encouraging immorality in our country, and that is what
I can feel what you are feeling there. Sir George, bottom line for this one, our governments in Africa don't think things through. They just don't think, they don't know that the money they stole, the government officials are stealing, the Yahoo, the government officials are doing, they come to destroy the fabrics of the society. Thereby, people will now, who want to go to hospital, will now be begging around, and those who want to go to prostitution, nobody will be able to stop them. As we see many undergraduates funding themselves through prostitution and things like that. So is it not because we don't think things through? Oh, somebody can steal money and get away with it, full stop. But it doesn't stop there. It gets into the fabrics of the society and destroys it, isn't it?
Well, the problem is this. What we have in our country today is like what our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ said in the Bible. I know we usually don't want to quote it, but he was telling the Pharisees, you say that you can see, and therefore your sin remains. But if you were blind, I will have reason to forgive you. So what we're seeing in our country today is they see evil, they know evil, and they decide to do evil because of the fact that I'm in power. Therefore, I can do and get away with whatever. I will say whatever, and nobody will question me because there are no accountabilities in Nigeria. So that's what you're seeing. If there were accountabilities in our country where somebody would be held accountable for something that they did 10, 15, 20 years ago, then you will start seeing people think otherwise. Nigerians are good people, but the 3%ers is what I call them, are the worst, the most corrupt individuals in the whole world. And that's why they are still fighting and clamoring to remain in power so that they will continue to do the evil that they have done. They don't care about the people. If they care about the people, then you will not see them doing what they are doing. They don't even care
Absolutely.
about
Yeah,
the
well,
people.
we put it,
About
we'll
being
just leave it on the conscience of those people, if they even have any conscience at all. They are
their conscience
destroying
is already
generations yet
seared with hot
unborn.
iron. Money have seared
Yeah,
their conscience. They don't care.
yes, they are
Dr.
destroying
Shegu,
generations yet unborn, and they just want to.
Dr. Shegu, you see, all these things are happening in Nigerians, and Nigerians are keeping quiet. You see, we don't know what we are doing. You see, the Nigerians, a lot of things are happening in Nigeria today. Nigerian youths cannot even stand up and fight for their rights. They cannot even speak. Now, people don't even talk. Post something that is happening in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians are afraid of commenting because when you comment, they come after you. This thing started in the 90s when they started going to schools to stop SUG, Student Union. Do you know what they did then? They destroyed the confidence of Nigerian youth so that they will not be able to speak. They destroy the
Let me
fabric
tell
of
you
their
why many
goodness.
people keep quiet. They are all keeping quiet because they know that if they get an opportunity to steal and therefore destroy the economy further, they will do so. So why shout on anyone that is stealing money right now? But we just have to move on. Sir George, very close to you. Donald Trump has been indicted again. He's going to Florida court. What do you say, sir?
Well, in the world we're living in, there are always two laws: one for the people and one for the elite. So it's almost like somebody would do something wrong and say, "Well, I'm not wrong because I don't think what I did is wrong. It is my right." But clearly, you were advised otherwise. The only thing happening in on the other part of the world, my side of the world here is, yes, indeed, he was indicted and he's already crying. My only situation is that the Justice Department is not really doing it the way they're supposed to, because they're allowing him, to control the narratives. So they just indicted him, and they called him and told him that he is the subject of the investigation, and they sent out this indictment to him. But he's the one now controlling the narrative, and he will spin it the way he wants, rather than the Justice Department coming out and telling the Americans, this is what we did, this is why we did it, and we had to do it this way because laws has been violated. So that's the
But I
only
have a
thing I
question.
see.
I have a question for you, sir. Why will the majority, the core of the Republicans, still be ranting for him to be the next president of America?
That is what Biddy was talking about. Biddy was talking about Africans, but it is all around the world. Black is becoming white and white is becoming black. Nobody sees right anymore. No, seriously, this is what it is. Okay, you can in America, a black person will go and commit the slightest crime. They will beat that same person to pulp and put him in prison. And if they don't have anybody to bail him out, they will remain there for many years. But these people with all impetus will go and do whatever they want to do because they don't believe that the law applies to them. And that is what you're seeing, in America today and around the world, as a matter of fact. Somebody will go and steal bread, you stone them and put tire on their head because of hunger in Nigeria. But these are people that are controlling our resources. Okay, look at what is happening around the world, around West Africa. Ghana is crying, Cameroon is crying, Togo is crying because of the subsidy. Why would they be crying because the subsidy was removed? Are you in Nigeria? No, they're not. but the subsidy oil, now the oil that has been subsidized is being stolen and taken to these countries for many years. You can imagine the amount of money Nigeria has lost by supporting Cameroon, Togo, Ivory Coast, and Ghana, because our people also find avenues to steal our oil. So this is what you're seeing.
That's very interesting. I watched a clip where the neighboring countries, the people are shouting, Tinubu must go, Tinubu must go. Inside Nigeria, nobody is shouting Tinubu must go. But quickly, I'm just mindful of the time. Mark in Milan, Vice President or former Vice President Mike Pence will want to be the next president of America through the Republicans. You think he can challenge DeSantis and Trump?
It will be a strong one. Personally, I actually have some respect for Mike Pence. He stood up in a time when his voice was very, very important to be heard. But there's something about when a one-time vice president is trying to contest to be president in America, you need the support of your boss, your former boss. You know, that played out very well for Joe Biden and Barack Obama. You know, Barack Obama was able to canvass very well and go all out for Joe Biden. So in Mike Pence, former Vice President Mike Pence's case, is going to be a tough one because first of all, he's going to go against his boss, his former boss, and there are lots of things to consider there. Half of the American population is saying that Pence is not the man for them now, but the other half says yes, he can contest. He has his ideologies and plans. So we're looking at both ends. But one thing remains that Mike Pence stood up at a time when his integrity was at stake, and for me, he did the right thing, saying how things were during that election.
I completely agree with you. There was no way that we will talk about American democracy without remembering Mike Pence at a time Donald Trump decided to close his eyes to the formidable judiciary of that country. Biddy, but having said that one, who will want to vote for a president that is falling down flat like Joe Biden? He's been falling everywhere. He's old. He should go and sit down, Shuni, especially when you are used to having old presidents in your country. I'm talking of Buhari and Tinubu.
Dr. Shegun, maybe probably I'm the wrongest person to ask this question.
No, you are the right person because your presidents are always old.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we got tired of having old president, but what did we do? Our present president failed so many times. Joe Biden has only fallen twice, and even his falling can be justified. But our own president, even on the day of inauguration, swearing in day, we saw how he was staggering all around. We saw what happened. It was a hidden something. So, and we elected him. He's there. You know, in as much as we did not elect him, but they forced him on us. So, who am I to, condemn other country if they decide to? A country like the United States of America decided to get Joe Biden.
So they are learning from us now. They are learning from us.
You see what I'm beginning to understand in this world now. It's like Africa has a way of influencing the world, but they might not accept it.
Yes, we've always been a blessing to the world. For instance, they took away all our strong, able bodies to develop their countries. They are taking away our economy, called neocolonialism.
They don't elect old people before, but this time around, they are beginning to elect old people. And it's African that is known with electing old people.
And why can't Africans copy good things from them, like technology, like morality?
I don't know. We
copy
the one that is less stress. We copy the one that is less stress on us. We don't like stress. We copy the less stress.
Biddy, yes. We just must go. It's my duty to thank you all from Milan. from Toronto, from Lagos. It's been a wonderful time. Thousands of people have been watching us, as we say, and we know more thousands will watch us later in the day. I want to thank you very much. Until next Wednesday, when we come with issues affecting African countries, it's been a pleasure analyzing and delivering for you. God bless you all.
Bless you too.
Thank you.